Florida tight end Kyle Pitts. Not much more needs to be said. What more can I say? Not much needs to be said here. This guy is the best tight end prospect we've seen in years. I mean, I think you probably have to go all the way back to Kellen Winslow in the 2004 NFL draft to find this kind of a physical specimen and freak coming into the league that people were excited about. I mean, Eric Ebron was good, but people were split on Eric Ebron. He was never viewed as a top 5 pick. This guy's viewed as a top 5 talent in this year's draft. Eric Ebron was never that in his respective draft. Noah Fant was impressive, but he wasn't Kyle Pitts. Neither was T.J. Hawkinson. These are the guys that have gone in the first round, or in the case of Hawkinson and Eric Ebron, those are the guys that have gone top 10. Even O.J. Howard wasn't on this level. We haven't seen a guy look like this, play like this, and come into the league with the type of skill sets that Kyle Pitts has. And so I tell you what, he's a unique specimen and a guy that I think a lot of teams would love to trade up to get their hands on. And so let's flip the card over and take a look at what Kyle Pitts brings to the table. First things first, height, weight, speed specimen. That goes without saying. 6'5", 245, 4'4", 40. The Moses Malone. He checks off every single box. The next thing you look at is his quickness, agility, and his hands. And we got to put these things in packages because there's so many strengths. You got to start packaging them up. Can't talk about them individually. We'll be here all night. Quickness. His route running ability is stupid. It's dumb. I'm watching him break off the number 1 corner on most people's board in this draft in Patrick Surtain II. He's breaking him off like he's a receiver, catching slants in front of his face when he's trying to press him at the line of scrimmage. He's trying to take him uptown, and he had him. I'm like, man, this dude is working this top 10 corner that everybody's ranting and raving about. He's working this dude. That's Kyle Pitts, man. He's not your average tight end, man. So his quickness, his agility, in and out of cuts, in and out of breaks, and his hands are second to none in this draft. And I'd put his hands up against any receiver in this draft as well. His hands are top notch. Catch radius. Talked about the 83-inch wingspan on the podcast. Talk about it again here because, again, you're talking about a 6'5" frame with 83-inch arms, 83-inch wingspan arms attached to them, but his arms are 33 inches. So 6'5" frame with 33-inch arms, which equal out to an 83-inch wingspan attached. Now try and stop him after he uses his, 37 or 8-inch vertical leap to go up and get the ball. Good luck. You're going to need it. The guy's ridiculous. So he's got catch radius. His route running, as I talked about already, second to none. I'm watching this dude, underneath, breaking off Patrick Surtain. I'm watching him at the second level, breaking dudes off. And then I'm watching him at the third level get vertical and just absolutely shred safeties who are waiting on him. He makes them think he's going to the post only to break them off and run a corner route. They're nowhere to be found. He's getting up the seam. He's getting outside the numbers. There's no answer for this dude. I'm watching him in a game. I want to say it was Ole Miss first game of the season. And it's right before halftime. They don't want to give up a touchdown. And they double team him. He's kicking their ass in the first half. So they double team him. They're in and outing him. And he breaks them off inside so much so that both of them give him the ability to still catch a back shoulder fade. And he catches it. Falling down, end zone touchdown. I mean, the dude is just nasty. I watched them try to in and out him. They're bracket coveraging him. One's got outside responsibility. The other, he just runs right by him. He splits them. Just pure speed and route running ability. Runs right by him, catches it over the top, and hauls ass. Take a stiff arm on the way out. Touchdown. It's nasty, man. Body control, leaping ability. Those, again, second to none. I talked about the body control briefly just now in that touchdown grab he had against Ole Miss, where he was able to contort his body, stop, turn, pivot, go down and dig it out on a back shoulder fade for the touchdown. He could just do so many different things. Pirouette into the air, come down with the football, still get his feet down inbounds. The leaping ability, again, you can throw it up to this guy. 50-50 balls aren't 50-50 balls. They're 70-30 go-getter balls for him, where if I'm a quarterback, I'm going to just throw it up because he's my guy. And if I throw it up to him in a one-on-one situation, it ain't a 50-50 ball. It's a 70-30 ball. My guy's going to come down with it. So with him, you don't have to throw the back shoulder fade. You can just throw a legitimate, old-school, go-up-and-get-it, jump ball fade, and he'll go get it. He's a separator. I've talked about it, and it doesn't matter underneath, all three levels, underneath, intermediate, deep, he separates. And I'm watching him run routes, and I'm just like, I'm marveling at him running routes. Him and his teammate, Kadarius Toney, running some sick, nasty routes. And I'm like, that should be illegal. That's nasty. That's trifling, it's disgusting, and I feel for some of these defenders. Because a guy that big in that frame shouldn't be able to move the way that Kyle Pitts moves. And you're asking defenders who are just helpless, just standing there, have no idea, because he's got a three-way go. 4 if you count coming back to the ball. But he can go in, out, or up. What am I supposed to do when he breaks me off inside and stems back outside? What am I supposed to do? I'm already at a disadvantage. I can't keep up with him. So the first move he gives me inside, I got to jump that. Well, now you got, because he pivots, turns, and gives you a whip route and goes outside. Well, what happens when he stems hard outside? I think he's running a fade. I don't want to get run by. And then he goes inside. And he runs a slant. What am I supposed to do? Vertical threat, playmaker, all of those things. I've already explained. He can get vertical. He's a playmaker. The guy, 12 touchdowns this year, man. I mean, 12 touchdowns, 770 yards on 43 grabs. The guy averaged 18 yards per pop. That's a playmaker, folks. A lot of these tight ends are averaging 11, 12 yards a catch because it ain't no run after the catch. There's no separation. This dude is catching the football with a yard or two of separation, and he's getting vertical on folks and run after the catch. He's a playmaker. 18 yards a pop. That's receiver-type numbers. That ain't tight end numbers normally. Run after the catch, I told you, it's nasty. All right? 4.4, 4.40 tells you all you need to know. You ain't catching this dude from behind, man. You know, a lot of these tight ends, they get vertical. It's a busting coverage. And here comes some corner or safety screaming down, catching their ass from behind at the 7-yard line. Now you got to find a way in the end zone. You ain't catching – you blow a coverage if you want to. You ain't catching Kyle Pitts from behind. Good luck. You're going to need it. And he's not just your typical catch it, all right, big, lumbering dude. He can move. Catching traffic. Best example of that, the Georgia game. Dude takes just the most hellacious shot you've ever seen in your life. It's the kind of hit that you're trying to get out of the sport. College, NFL, it doesn't matter. Dude comes in, spears him with his helmet. His helmet goes flying off. Kyle Pitts has to have surgery on his nose and a concussion. You could tell he was out upon contact. I think he still caught the damn ball. He might have dropped it, even though you go unconscious. Not a lot of times you drop the football. He was out on his feet. But that goes to the toughness, fearlessness aspect that I was going to talk about later. Might as well talk about it now. He knew he was going to take a shot on that catch. He knew he was going to get hit. He didn't think he was going to get hit like that. You never think you're going to get headhunted like that. But he knew he was going to take a shot regardless. Still went after the football. Don't hang your guys out to dry like that, though. If you're a quarterback out there, don't hang your guy out to dry like that. Don't do that. But, my goodness, he can catch it in traffic, man. He can catch it in traffic. And that's where that fearlessness and toughness comes into play. He ain't afraid. He ain't scaried, as a wise man once said. This guy is a blocker in the run and pass game. Sometimes the pad level could get a little high, but man, does he fight his ass off in the run game and as a pass protector. Man, I wasn't honestly, this film study for me on Kyle Pitts wasn't really about the athlete and the athleticism and the pass catch. None of that shit I needed to see. I seen enough of that just watching games. I already knew what this guy was about. this really was, hey man, how good are you in the run game and as a pass protector? How's your pass pro? If I got to have you stay in and block, can I trust you one-on-one with an edge rusher? One-on-one with a blitzer? Can I trust you? And what you doing in the run game? Check and check. Check and check. Because for me, if you can't block, run, pass, either, it's hard for me to spend a top 10 pick on you. Now, with this kind of athleticism, I can spend the top 15. I can spend 15 or 20 on you. Hard for me to, Noah Fant, for instance. Not the best blocker in the world. I'll spend 20 on you. That's what Denver did. I spend 20 on you. I can get with that. But you can block too? With all of this shit that we talking about, you can block too? Now we talking top 5. Now we talking top 10. Formational flex and red zone target. Again, I don't have to explain formational flex to you. This guy's all over the field. You can flex him out wide. You can put him in the slot. You can line up in tight, in line as a traditional Y. He did that quite a bit. He can be a wing guy for you. Just everywhere. But he's a red zone target, man. 12 touchdowns, as I mentioned, this year, 5 last year, 18 for his career at Florida. Some of these obviously aren't in the red zone. He's catching it and running it. But how many of those touchdowns did we see? A slant. He just beats the guy across his face. Ball's out in front and he snatches it. How many times you see him in the end zone, body up a dude, back shoulder fade, they can't do anything about it. How many of those did you see, though? Plenty of those. And that's the separator for me is, look, I want a guy that can move the sticks. I want a guy that can do damage 20 to 20. But where the money is made is, can I get it to you on 3rd and 6 when I got to have it? 3rd and goal from the 6? When I just say, all right. Because we know once you get inside the 10-yard line, when we get inside the 5 and inside the 7, when we get in the red zone, it's less about plays and more about players. As they like to say, it's less about X's and O's and it's more about, the Jimmys and Joes. All right? That's when it becomes, all right, man, where your ballers at? Where your ballers at? Where they at? Now I need a dude that he can win. That's Kyle Pitts. Productivity. Over the last 2 years, no tight end in college football probably has been more productive in that 2-year span than Kyle Pitts. You're talking about 97 catches for 1,419 yards and 17 touchdowns over the last 2 years. Again, I don't know if you'll find a tight end more productive than that over the last 2 years in just 21 games. So he was outstanding these last 2 years. He was outstanding in 2020 when he didn't have to be. And I don't know how this guy I don't know how this guy makes it out of the top 10, honestly. And I would be shocked if the Falcons don't go quarterback at 4. I think he's the pick if they don't trade out of the pick. Weaknesses. I'm nitpicking here, man. It's not a lot for you to really be able to say he can't do. So I had to nitpick. His pad level can be a little high as a blocker. Okay? Sometimes he's 6'5", close to 6'6". So you get to blocking and you go from a low center of gravity and low base to all the way up, standing straight up. That's not what you're looking for, and you can get that from him sometimes. And then sometimes he can be a little delayed and excessive with his hezzy steps off the line of scrimmage. So when you watch him off of the line of scrimmage, man, is he beating the turf up. Pitter-pat, 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 pitter-pat. He's trying to set the dude up. Hezzy. And he's pitter-patting, pitter-patting. And I'm like, hey, go, man, go. You take it too long. Quarterbacks doesn't have that much time. Get into your shit. And it's effective, but I don't need you doing, you're 6'5", 245. I don't need you doing all of that. If you want to give him one little hezzy off the line of scrimmage and then go, like when you watch Devontae Adams, it's a hezzy and go off the line of scrimmage. He ain't doing all of this shaking, pitty-pat. Don't nobody got time for that shit. It's a hezzy and go. Slap down the hands and go much faster than slow. So I need him to get better at that. I need him to get better off the line of scrimmage and not be dancing and doing the waltz at the line of scrimmage. I need him to get into his shit and go much faster than slow. He'll get better at that though. But he's a top 10 pick, man. He's a top 5 pick, to be honest with you. He's a top 5 talent. I don't know of anybody that has their big board, their overall 100 prospects in this draft, don't have him in the top 5 of that list. This guy's phenomenal. My comp for him is Darren Waller. I look at Darren Waller and I say he's kind of created the lane for Kyle Pitts. The big 6'5", 6'6", long, lanky, fast tight end. Remember, Darren Waller ran a 4.46 coming into the league as a receiver. And the Baltimore Ravens decided to turn him into a tight end, and it just took a while. Had some issues off the field. And so he ends up going to Oakland, now Vegas, and the rest is history. He's one of the most dominant tight ends in the league now from a pass-catching standpoint. That's Kyle Pitts, man, all day long. I'm looking at Darren Waller, and I'm saying Kyle Pitts will come in and have that kind of immediate impact. Did Darren Waller have 1,000 yards receiving this year? If not, he was damn close. Let's take a look, see what Darren Waller did in 2020. As Pitts has a chance to come in and have that kind of an impact immediately. Shit, the last 2 years, Darren Waller's gone over 1,100 yards receiving. Not 1,000, 1,100 yards receiving in the last 2 seasons apiece. Had over 100 receptions last year and damn near 1,200 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns. That's going to be Kyle Pitts in 2 years. I don't know if he comes in year 1 and puts up those types of numbers. Give him 2 years. And put him in the right offense with the right quarter. You put him in Atlanta, he might do it in year 1. With Julio and Calvin Ridley on the outsides and working aside. And this guy having the free reins to tear it up over the middle with no safety help because they got to worry about Julio and Calvin Ridley. Yeah, he might go for a G in the first year. But, give him 2 years, he'd be tearing shit up. So, this is a can't-miss prospect. If he's healthy, he ain't missing, man. He is not missing, period. And so Kyle Pitts, unequivocally, my unquestioned number 1 tight end of the 2021 NFL Draft.
LouieTeeNetwork.